different platforms. You'll see this here. Can you see it? Yeah, you see it? I'm using my purse as a means to prop this up. Yeah, we're going to do this real efficient like. That's how we're going to do it. So now you see that. Okay, there we go. We're going to do this real efficient like. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Okay. All right. Hello, hello, hello. It is your girl, Tigress is a verb. Queen, get her done. See, Tigress run. The real legal name is Tigress Sydney Acute McDaniel. All right. But this time I'm coming to you, it's not on the basis of me giving you an update on political news. I'm not giving you an update on Black empowerment, even though this does entail Black folk, because these are Black folk. And I can't believe these Black folk thought that it was appropriate to do this to another Black folk. Okay, so, and I'm going to have to read. Oh, this is going to be interesting because I need to read from the complaint. I don't know how we're going to do this. Give me a second. Let's see. Let me see if I can put it up here. Because I don't know. I don't know if I can put it up here. All right, y'all. I'm going live. Like I told you. This is the update. This is the update. I have been scammed by a couple, or they tried to scam me. Jahmil Mays and Deja Hill Mays, owners of Amazing Pro, or AMAYSIN Pro, here in Charlotte. They are both from Detroit, Michigan, is what I understand. And I am just beyond appalled as to what they thought they were going to do as it relates to me. I just don't even yeah. So what I'm going to do is, some of you evidently you've been looking at the posts that I have been putting out. I met Jahmil in September, actually very specifically September 7th, 2024. And I'm just going to read from my complaint. It's not my complaint against them. Let me specify, because it's gonna be a bit episodic here at the beginning. And so you'll get some clarity. I'm going to give you a real quick synopsis and then go back in time and give you all the deets. So basically, Jahmil asked to court me, and evidently that was part of the scam because it was a plan between he and who I understood to be his ex-wife based on the paperwork. I'm a lawyer, so I saw the paperwork myself. It's filed with the Mecklenburg County courts. They have been legally separated since December 26, 2022. Deja Hill Mays moved for a absolute divorce after they had been separated for over a year, with the intent for that to be permanent, which then becomes an uncontested divorce because he did not contest it. I guess they both thought that it had been done, but neither one of them had actually scheduled a hearing for it to be signed. So that's the only thing that had not been done, is for the signing of the absolute divorce decree. Other than that, by law, they were at the very least lawfully separated with the intent for that to be permanent, and were in the process of an uncontested divorce. So, and like I said, he showed me all the documentation. I've been to his apartment. He lives with his cousin, Aaron Wills, and I saw even his lease just in the course of everything that he was sharing with me, because he had questions about the legal issues that he was dealing with as it relates to her having falsified a criminal domestic violence charges against him, pretty violent charges, He actually allowed me to listen in on phone calls with her because he had initially joined the Ethical Gatekeeper. Some of you know that I run the Ethical Gatekeeper, which is a vocational legal education private organization, which just basically teaches lay people the law. I cannot represent you until I am licensed, and I am not yet licensed. And so I just teach. And it is part of my passion to make sure people are sufficiently informed in law. And I believe that it actually lends towards better relationships between human beings, you know, at the fundamental level. So it has always been a dream of mine to start this organization, and that's the primary purpose of it. Again, I do not provide any legal services as it relates to representation because, number one, it's unlawful. Number two, I love my beautiful Black people, but not one of you is worth my license. Come on now. It wouldn't make any sense. And so I'm not going to do anything that would jeopardize my license before I even get the license in my hand. Come on now. All right. So, but yeah, so basically, Deja Hill Mays and Jahmil had evidently, so Jahmil met me, and I guess he told her about me and was like, okay, that's the ultimate get. Let's get this bitch, right? And again, I'm learning all this stuff like hindsight, so it's episodic. So I'm gonna bring you back. You know, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back, right? So that you can understand what's going on. But basically, just recently, so Jahmil, it came to a head with Jahmil breaking up with me by text on Valentine's Day, like completely blindsided, right? And I'll read the text. And so I thought, because he just lost his brother to suicide, and she had evidently, you know, she was upset that he had posted a picture of us online after he professed his love. It was around February, the 1st of February. And that's when it got really cuckoo crazy. And so basically my complaint is actually just a counterclaim in response to their complaint in the cases that they initiated. So I have not started any more cases, so don't even start them lies, okay? I haven't initiated any cases. But of course, a defendant can answer a complaint. They can raise defenses, affirmative and otherwise, against the complaint, and they can file a counterclaim against the plaintiff. And that's exactly what I did, because them bitches is crazy. And that's what that is, because you don't have a leg to stand on, because why the fuck? The fuck. Okay, so, and then the most wild part is that Jahmil then evidently thought he would file a complaint for a temporary restraining order, which don't make no sense whatsoever. But I find it very interesting that he can't defend himself against her, but he can file this knowingly falsified temporary restraining order request against me. And that, to me, that's the smoking gun. That tells me that they were in cahoots from day one. I mean, the math is mathing. That's how you do that math, you know? It's not even calculus. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to this case here, and I'm going to read it verbatim. I only have so many devices, so just work with me. And I'm going to read it because this is some wild shit. This is some wild shit. I'm going to read it real quick. I imagine you can still see me. I hope you can. YouTube. I know y'all can see me because I can see you. But right now, I'm doing this. And hold on. There's wait, hold on. See, I'm live. Right there, I'm live. Maybe I can share it. You see, I'm live right there. I'm live. Boom, boom. And but I need to pull this up. Let me see if what is this? Share screen. Live restricted for some audiences. Your live contains themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. What? That don't make no sense. Yeah, my live doesn't contain anything restricted. That's crazy. Y'all, this is not that type of live, like for you to join in. It's not that type of live. So, yeah, it's really too much going on for real. But I'm going to go ahead and read this. And evidently somebody like tried to put a restriction on this live. Don't worry, because remember, you can also go over to my YouTube at Tigress is a Verb, and it's going to be up there, and you'll be able to look at the whole thing from there. I'm going to go ahead and, because, I don't know. TikTok and us, we don't go together real bad. I know some of y'all love you some TikTok and it work out all right for you, but nah, it don't. Me and TikTok, because the realest folk and TikTok don't like real folk. They don't like the realest. They deal with everybody else, but they don't like the realest. And I'm the realest. So I'm gonna share my screen on this side, I think. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me go, yeah. I'm going to go to just give me a second, y'all. And then I'm going to pull up the complaint and just read it, because that's going to be the easiest way to stay on point. And then I'll give you an update. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask. No, that's not what I meant to do. Yeah, let me go to this. All right, so now let me come down. Okay, all right. So here we are, and I'm about to share my screen over here. And is it doing it? Hold on. I didn't want it to do what it just did. Just give me a second. Like I said, if you have any questions, let a sister know, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now we got it. Share screen, boom, share, and boom, bye. Boom, bam. Okay, so here we are. This is what you're going to see on YouTube. You're not going to be able to see this while I'm reading from it. It's just going to be a little difficult for me to do unless I turn it this way. There you go. You'll be able to kind of see it. All right. So basically now comes defendant. I would happen to be the defendant since they filed the case against me, right? And evidently, as it should have been, the complaint that Deja filed was thrown out by the court, and that was the proper thing to do, because she's completely batshit crazy, and there's nothing that she would have even imagined to come up. Like, she couldn't even lie her way into a good enough lie for it to make any sense and create a situation that would expose me to criminal or civil liability as it relates to either one of them. It would make no sense. So now comes defendant to hereby answer plaintiff's knowingly falsified and psychologically, impressively, delusionally, psychopathically colorful complaint for temporary restraining order, alleging substantiation for the temporary restraining order and further a permanent order thereupon, and so says in support thereof. She's a lawyer. All right. So factual history: on or about September 7th, defendant first met Jahmil Alexander Levi Mays, hereinafter Ja. Number 2, plaintiff is the estranged spouse to Jah due to a toxic marriage entailing infidelity, emotional, and sexual abuse, first committed by plaintiff, Deja May. So Deja, remember, is the plaintiff in this particular action, even to the extent of Jah learning in a traumatic manner that the eldest child of their 3 children was not his biological child. And for these reasons, plaintiff and Jah legally separated on December 26, 2022. Okay. Number 3, Jah moved out of the house located at, and we'll keep that disclosed, even though, of course, it's in the cases, and you can look that up on your own time, where they resided while married, having also learned that he was not on the deed as he originally apprehended, and leased and did possess and move into an apartment located at, again, we're going to leave that information out. Number 4, on or about September 15th, Jah asked defendant if he could romantically court her. That's me. To which she suggested, and I'll try to use I, and I'll, work this out for y'all here. To which I suggested that they establish a friendship first with the intention to engage romantically and not yet sexually until both were emotionally ready, due to both of their past traumatic relationships. You know what I had to deal with Dante, if you've been following. And both Jah and defendant agreed and began a courting relationship. Number 5, plaintiff is not a tenant at Jah's apartment, nor has ever been on the lease. So Deja was not ever a tenant and not ever on the lease. Number 6, Jah resides with his cousin and has resided with his cousin for as long as I've known him, since September 7th. Number 7, furthermore, in fact, on July 20th, 2024, with intent to coerce Jah to remarry her, plaintiff initiated a complaint for domestic violence, notably knowingly falsified against Jah, and plaintiff did carry out acts in the furtherance of her specific intent to maliciously prosecute Jah by voluntarily testifying as the state's witness and also coercing their 12-year-old daughter to falsely testify against her own father to maliciously prosecute him for his acts in self-defense against plaintiff and the eldest child and 12-year-old daughter when Jah confronted plaintiff's then boyfriend regarding a dispute about his interaction with the children, which incident occurred at the home where they had resided when they were married and where Deja still resides with the children. Number 8, on October 28th, Jah accepted a plea bargain, and I told him that he should fight for himself. And I was very shocked that he accepted a plea bargain. But now, in hindsight, it makes sense. Having only the benefit of a public defender, incapable of affording a private attorney, and fearing that he did not have apt defense due to being a Black man facing allegations from a manipulative and markedly beguilingly convincing Black woman, upon which decision the judge then sentenced him to supervised probation for 18 months, a 26-week domestic violence class, and most notably, no contact. This is very important. No contact with the purported victims, which would have been Deja Hill, or is Deja Hill Mays, and their 12-year-old daughter. This conviction was entered on October 28th, 2024. Okay, we're there. Okay, so it has not ended. It has not even remotely ended, okay? And I have expressed knowledge that he has not even started the class yet because the class has been postponed. So he's not supposed to have any contact with her, and just, okay. Woo. Number 9, on or about September 9th, 2024, when Jah and me had their first meeting, Jah disclosed critical evidence as to Deja's history of emotional abuse, physical threats, trespass to his chattels, manipulation, and intimidation against him, including but not limited to, and the records are attached, and you would have to, go into the case to find that. Number 10, during that meeting, Jah received a phone call from plaintiff, Ja received a phone call from Deja, which he brought to my attention, and then accepted the call, and he put it on speakerphone to allow me to hear the phone call. Okay, so during this phone call, over the course of an hour, Deja repeatedly and disturbingly stated that she she demanded that Ja remarry her, or else she would proceed with testifying against him and direct their daughter to testify against him as well. Excuse me. She even expounded in considerable detail, in a manner like a villain monologue, how and exactly what she'd say when testifying, so as to intimidate Ja, which he apprehended she would do if he did not agree to her demands. Okay. Number 12, since Ja's revelations to me, notably with clear evidence, I have consistently encouraged him to not just give up and accepting a plea bargain, to disclose the evidence to his public defender and tell his public defender that he had witnesses willing to testify as to plaintiff's history of emotional abuse, physical threats, trespass to chattels, which is trespass to like his car and, your property or whatever, chattels is property, manipulation and intimidation against him, and falsified domestic violence complaint to coerce him to remarry her. Number 13, on or about October 20th, Ja lost his brother to suicide. Number 14, on October 27th, Ja requested to meet with me and confided in me that he was also suicidal due to growing concerns for the outcome of the trial on the next day, at which time I consoled him and reminded him not to give up. Discussed above, Ja ultimately accepted a plea bargain, which he explained to me was his best option, considering that he did not feel he would receive a fair trial due to how manipulative and convincing Deja can be. On number 16, on December 9th, Ja and I discussed moving forward in our relationship and decided to make our romantic relationship official. And everything was going exceptionally well. Now, I didn't put that in there, but you know what I'm saying. So number 17, on or about February 1st, Ja publicly posted a photo of him and me together on social media, on his social media accounts, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, his Instagram stories, professing his love for me. 18, on or about February 2nd, Ja informed me that his daughter wanted him to remove the post. But I didn't believe that. And so I made further inquiry, and then Ja revealed that Deja wanted him to remove the post, which caused Ja considerable emotional distress. Or, remember, I'm at the point that I prepared this complaint, I hadn't learned completely everything that was going on. Let's just be very, very clear. So I thought that still Ja was under the gun, but I get the impression that he's not an innocent party in this matter, not completely innocent at all. Okay. 20, over the course of Ja and defendant's relationship, my relationship with him, it had become customary for Ja to allow me to listen to phone calls received from Deja for the purpose of Ja's wishes that I could tell his story accurately if Deja acted upon her threats and or Ja's sentence was activated due to a violation of his probation. She would threaten to do things to cause his probation officer to violate his probation. Okay. Number 21. I also want to say this. I very often also told him, why don't you just block her? And his response always consistently was, because of my kids. If I don't kind of, he referred to her as a placeholder. If I don't kind of give in to, placate her a little bit, then she will keep my kids away from me permanently. And he didn't want that. And so I thought that was admirable, even though I told him that, you can nip this in the bud with one swift action by telling your public defender and getting the courts involved so that the court can mandate, direct her by order to give you an opportunity to be a father to your children and interact with them, because at no time had the court taken away or restricted Jah's parental rights at all. There's nothing in there. And if you don't mind, if you would like the live, please, y'all, so that it sends it out to more people, because at this point, I am really asking for you all to rally around me and my family, to support us and do so publicly, so we have the eyes on what is going on, because our safety has been threatened. And as a public figure, this is getting to the point where it is ridiculous. And we really need all eyes and all hands on deck to make sure that we turn this around, because there has been a clear, concerted effort to vilify me, to ostracize me, to defame me, and it has to stop. So hold on one second. Hold on, because they have. Hold on. And because they did the restriction, y'all, I'm gonna end and then come back. Remember, you'll be able to go to my YouTube channel and it will be right up there. So I'm gonna end and come back. All right. Hello. Come back in. All right. And I'm just going to continue reading. And like I said, if you missed the first half, I think I'll be able to download it from TikTok, but also it will be on my YouTube channel. And I'll figure out how to make sure that it's available to you everywhere, on my Instagram, on Facebook, or Meta or whatever, all the places. So come on in here, and I'm going to continue on in just 1 second here. Hello. Hello. I'm back. I just wanted to make sure, because somebody was playing games, tried to, I guess they flagged the live. And please like the live. Please give me some likes. I appreciate it, so that it reaches farther out. Please like the live. I appreciate it. Come on in the building. And this is an update regarding Jahmil Mays and Deja Mays, who tried to scam me. This is a couple that I thought was intentionally I know that they're lawfully separated, but I thought that they were estranged based on the information that Jah lied about. And now I have found myself in basically like a thin line between love and hate, or maybe similarly to like a mea culpa type of situation. And so I'm giving you an update. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep going in this complaint. And remember, if you missed the first part, you can go to YouTube. I am literally still live on YouTube, and you'll be able to get it all without there being any break in the live. And so I'm going to go ahead and continue on. So number 21, The phone call from plaintiff, or the plaintiff being Deja Hill Mays, who took out a knowingly falsified temporary restraining order complaint against me, which was thrown out as it should have been because the fuck, right? But the phone call from Deja owner about February 2025 was no different. And in fact, even more disturbing in that plaintiff's demands were escalatedly delusional and psychotic, and notably involved Ja having to violate the stipulations of his sentencing order. Ja, if you're just joining, he took a plea bargain and was sentenced to 18 months of supervised probation, a 26-week domestic violence class, and no contact with Deja Hill Mays or his daughter. Now, this was for a domestic violence. There was several charges, very violent charges that were filed against him falsely by Deja Hill Mays. And I know this because of the conversations that he let me listen in on. That's what I was speaking about before in this complaint, where it had become customary for Ja to let me listen in on the conversations with he and his ex-wife, so that I could, be a witness or tell the story just in case something happened to him, because he used to say, and she would say, that she didn't want him to have anybody else. She was she's very psychotic. She alluded to wanting to take her own life, being suicidal. And maybe that was the word that the live freaked out about. So I'll be very careful about repeating that, about unaliving herself, and that she would unalive Ja. And I even have that on recording as well. But yeah, so let's keep going. So we get to 23. After ending the call, Ja went home to get a change of clothes for the work week the next day, because it had become customary for him to sleep over at my house. And Ja also went to pick up takeout food for us, and returned home for a typical shared evening, and nothing was different. But on February 5th, however, Ja seemed to be even more emotionally distressed and less expressive. And when I inquired, he would always answer that he was concerned about his finances, missing his children, and suffering from pain related to an L5 and L6 back injury, nerve injury. 25. On February 9th, Ja and I hosted a Super Bowl party. And after they ran errands in preparation, Ja left to run another errand, change clothes, and retrieve his television. But when he returned, he was visibly oddly stoic. But when I inquired, he answered similarly as he had before. Then I saw him, I want to say it was, oh, here we go. They done it again. I'm going to stay live this time. Somebody's playing games. But anyway, remember, the entire live is on YouTube. So you don't have to worry about a thing. The whole thing is on YouTube. I'm doing it now. Stop sharing so that you can see that it is on YouTube. I am live, still live on YouTube. And so you can come on over to YouTube. And again, it will be up on YouTube. It's not going anywhere. Okay. All right. So let's go back to it and go to, I think I was at, yeah. So then I saw him on that Wednesday. I had gone out to run errands, and of all things, I forgot to get toilet paper. So I asked him to pick up some toilet paper and bring it by the house, because the weather was kind of messy or whatever. And y'all know I'm on the light rail. So I was like, bring me some toilet paper, at the time, babe, or whatever. And he was like, sure. There was no hemming and hawing. There was no nothing. He was like, absolutely. And he was like, it's going to take me this much time to, get off work and come back and all the kind of stuff. And then I'll be right over there. And he was, boom, he brought toilet paper. And so nothing seemed different. And we discussed that we were going to be doing something on Valentine's. He did tell me that his money was funny. And I was like, I always would tell him, you are the gift, Jahmil, as opposed to him showering me with gifts and stuff like that. And so on February 14th, though, Valentine's Day that morning, having discussed different plans for Valentine's Day, earlier that week, Jai and I spoke by phone at approximately 7:40 that morning before Jai's work shift to finalize plans, at which time Jai oddly told me to expect money by way of Cash App. Well, at first he said Zelle, and I was like, I don't have Zelle. And so he was like, by Cash App and a text around his lunchtime. And I was like, okay. And I didn't think it was anything bad because he was always full of surprises. So I thought, this was my Valentine's Day surprise. My baby giving me $300. Okay, what we doing? That type of vibes, right? And then at approximately 8:18, about 40 minutes later, Jai texted me breaking up with me, claiming that he was not ready for a relationship, and then sent me $300 by text. And he was saying that he felt like he had so much going on and he had to take a step back from everything. And he hated what he had to do with a heavy heart. And then he didn't want his decision to destroy everything we had, but he needed time to get himself together, blah, 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 blah. So I was honestly concerned for his mental health because of everything that I have learned, right? You would think, right? Because that would be the good girlfriend thing based on everything that I've learned. I was seriously concerned for his mental health. So I then purchased a single rose and some sunflowers wrapped in purple cellophane to represent suicide awareness. And they've already restricted it. So whatever, saying suicide should not be a restriction. That's not how it should go, but whatever. And actually, you know what? It's okay. We're going to start it again. Hold on. So come on back. All right, come on in here. Come on in here. And maybe this is why they do it like that. They do it in increments, but that's just so much, y'all. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. We'll see. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. It's stressful enough. I just want to get it done and be done with it. So come on in, and I'm just going to start. I'm going to jump right in this time. So let's see. Let me make sure. Hold on. Yeah, the dedication and putting together all the different parts. I just, Lord. And maybe I will. I got a little time. It's 3:34. I feel like at this point, especially since I've got it written out like this, that maybe I could do it. We'll see. We'll see. But if I do it, it's going to be separate from the live that I'm doing now. Come on in the building. Hello. I had to start it back up. So come on in here with me. This is not that type of live to come live with me. So this is just the type of live to just watch. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with number 27. Like I said, at about 8:18, Jai texted me breaking up with me, claiming that he was not ready for a relationship, and then sent me $300 by Cash App. Number 28, concerned for his mental health, I purchased a single rose and sunflowers wrapped in purple cellophane to represent unaliving awareness, and visited Jai's home to show solidarity and friendship. I wasn't even on I need you. Girl, I'm 48. It's not that serious. If somebody is really having a mental health crisis, like I could just be there as a friend, and I knew or thought he was really going through something serious. So it was not that big of a deal because remember in the beginning, I had already said I want to establish a friendship. And I thought we were friends. I thought we were locked in. Okay. So I then visited his home to show him solidarity and friendship and rest his mind as to his expressed fear that his decision might destroy everything we had. Number 29. When I arrived, Ja seemed oddly elated. He was excited to see me, which was strange, and quickly confided in me that I didn't want to break up with you. A few days ago, when leaving your home, I noticed Deja's car parked in front of your apartment building. Then she called erratically, rambling about your qualities and stating she understood why he wanted to be with me. She gave me an ultimatum that if I didn't get rid of you, that she would get rid of me and my son. So with your son and with your and your son's safety on the line, and already my freedom was on the line, he had to break up with me. But we will figure this out. I just need you to be understanding and patient. So I was like, okay, that made more sense based on everything that I knew. And I knew that I thought he was really, being sincere in everything he was telling me. And I thought he was just a really good guy in a really bad situation, right? So then number 30, Ja disappeared to his bedroom and returned with an additional $100 in cash, which he gave me. Then initiated several kisses with me. And then I was like, okay, well, keep in contact with me today and keep me, informed or whatever. And I'll see you later. And he knew that we were taking my son out, and my friend and her son, we were taking them out earlier in the day, for Valentine's Day. And then I was going to get with Ja later on that evening. But he remained communicative all throughout the day, and even on speakerphone with us and asking us how we were enjoying anything. And he was like, I'm so glad I was able to take care of everybody's day. And I'm glad that pretty much the Valentine's Day was salvaged. So everything was all good, right? And then abruptly, he stopped responding to my texts around 9:30. So I was concerned, obviously. Number 32, amongst our conversation on Valentine's Day, most notably showing proof that Ja did not intend to remain broken up from me, and my feelings were the same. I texted him and said, do you want me to stage a mutual breakup to make her think that we are no longer together and just friends? Because she was trolling me. I noticed that she was like posting little smart ass comments about, the special lawyer in Ja's life or in our life that's looking for grants. It's just me. It's just me. So she was just making little digs, taking little digs at me on social media or whatever. And then I noticed that she was also in my feed where she had been, trolling my account or whatever. And Ja responded, sure, with a laughing emoji. Then on the next day, I was like, okay, let me go over and just hang out with my baby for a little while, see how he's doing or whatever. And so I went over there at 6:30 because he normally gets up around, I would say like 10. So I was definitely going to, cuddle with my man and all the things and just chill. But when I got to his home, guess who answered the door? Guess who answered the door? Let me make sure they can see my face. Let me come out of this. Hold on. Guess who answered the door? Guess who answered the door? It was her. Deja answered the door. Okay. And at which time I locked eyes with Ja, who was inside the apartment, and he was like he was further back in the apartment or whatever. And when I asked Ja to explain what was going on, he began explaining, but very incoherently, right? Initially. Number 34, while I was at Ja's home, Deja repeatedly threatened to physically harm me, but Ja repeatedly confronted her, demanding that she take no action against me, right? Number 35, plaintiff Deja also revealed to me that she had given him the $300 to pay me to go away, but I was a dumb bitch and didn't take the money and go. Number 36, apprehending her threats to be viable and imminent, especially when not in the presence of Jah and suspectedly at my home. I gave Deja verbal legal notice in person to cease and desist, and further that she needed to voluntarily confess her crimes against Jah, having filed the falsified domestic violence complaint and given false testimony during trial, and also having coerced their daughter to give false testimony against her father, which actually constitutes a felony under North Carolina law. Which notice I actually sent, and I told her I was going to send by email. And I said, you got 3 days. And that's what that is. Number 37, ultimately, Jah repeatedly expressed to me that he had explained that Deja posed an imminent threat to him, his family, referring to their children, and to me and my son, if he did not go along with her demands, which is terminating our relationship and interaction completely, both romantic and business, and resume a romantic and business relationship with her. I remember several times she was like, you need to take your hands off of my man, my property. Jah, tell her she's being disrespectful. It was mad wow. It was mad wow. 38, over the course of our relationship, Jah and I executed a business agreement for Pop the Balloon Queen City. So you'll see him up and in the videos or whatever. Some of y'all have already seen it. And the Davis Association LLC, for which legal formalities, of course, I did because I'm the lawyer. And branding and promotional advertising on social media, like I said, it has already been produced and posted. 39, due to unfinished business between Jah and I, including also the father figure relationship he had initiated with my son, at defendant's request, at my request, Jah agreed to talk to and explain to their mutual friends and business colleagues so his defendant would not have that burden alone, at which time Jah and I agreed verbally in front of Deja that they would be friends to just placate her. And then I left, right? Okay, so 40, on February 16th at approximately 10 a.m., again, concerned for his health. Okay, yeah. Where we at? I texted Jah to inquire if he was okay, to which he didn't immediately respond. And then when he finally responded, he was short and disconnected, at which point I asked him to call so I could hear his voice to make sure he was okay. And Jah did not call and became non-responsive. Number 41, at approximately 11:30 a.m., having no response from Jah and having heightened concerns for his mental health and apprehending that Deja posed a viable and imminent threat against her and Jah, I called the police to conduct a wellness check or wellness visit. Number 42, I suspected that Deja was still belligerently posted up at Jah's home and left at Deja's direction when I asked Jah to call me, because when I arrived, they were not there, and the police were there. Number 43, Jah, however, then called me, and this is where it takes a turn. It gets very interesting. Telling me that his cousin told him that the police were at his door and asking her if she had called the police. Well, of course, I confidently said yes, because of everything that's going on. And then Jah told the police, y'all. Jah told the police that he wanted to talk to the officer, so I had no problem with it. And then he told the officers that I was a heartbroken ex that he broke up with on Valentine's Day, and that he was not unalive in his mind that he didn't want to unalive himself and was okay, which was not believable nor consistent with the facts. Okay. Number 45, apprehending the threat of being misrepresented in a false light, which was clearly orchestrated by Deja. I then realized that I was subject to a false attack, and it appeared that Jah was not in a position to insulate me nor my son from such attack. And further apprehending that Deja's threats to me and my son were viable and imminent, I filed a police report against Deja for communicating threats. Okay. At 1:57 and 4:46, I then received texts from Jah's phone, but clearly they weren't from Jah. Hi, how are you? Good. Hi. How you doing? Good. How are you? Good. I'm going to pause here. They're doing a walkthrough. Okay. But clearly they weren't from Jah. They were threatening to retaliate against me for a frivolous and a hypocritical complaint, accusing me of blackmailing them, intimidating them, manipulating, and setting him up. And it is altogether unclear what I would be doing in those regards, but none of which was even remotely logical, nor which I had done anything that would even possibly rise to the level of actionable liability, civil or criminal, under North Carolina law. Number 47, at 7:20, and I'll just hold on one second here. All right. So at 7:20, Officer Michael Romps called me to finalize a police report against Deja for communicating threats. And then later, number 48, later that evening, recalling that it was likely that Deja was now controlling Jah's phone and concerned for the security of her confidential business information for the joint ventures between Jah and I, and my debit card being on file for their ongoing business services. Mind you, that's a caveat. My business debit card has been missing since around February 4th, February 5th. I don't lose that card. It stays in one place. So, and I don't pull that card out. I don't have any need to pull it out. A lot of people don't know this, but I am a huge proponent of Apple Pay because it's such a secure way of paying for things. And so I have none whatsoever. Like my cards are in all the secure places where you can pay securely through processes with, that do not require you to physically have the card. So my card doesn't go anywhere, but it was missing. But anyway, so I changed all the passwords and enabled higher security settings. Then on February 17th at approximately 9 a.m., I noticed that I had received an email from Google warning that my account had been hacked. When I recovered the account, I discovered that evidently Deja had hacked my account because her email address had been entered, replacing my and Jah's information. And furthermore, the history of device logins showed that an Android Motorola had been most recently used to access the account. Then I recalled, number 51, that when I first met Jah, he showed me Apple AirTag records from an AirTag he found in his car, suspecting that Deja had been stalking him. And so I was convinced at that point that my suspicion was correct, that she was controlling Jah's phone, okay? Because why wouldn't Jah just put in his email address? It wouldn't make any sense. Like, I don't have access to his own personal emails, so it wouldn't make any sense for her email address to be put into our business account, Gmail account. It wouldn't make any sense. It made no sense. So I recovered the account again, and I made sure to sign out of the Motorola device because I know that Ja has a Android or whatever. Then 54, I then contacted Ja's probation officer to report the likelihood of his mental instability and potential threat of suicide murder and plaintiff's conduct with the specific intent to effectuate probation violations, at which time the probation officer searched the court database to determine if Deja had indeed acted upon her threats to maliciously prosecute me. And then the probation officer found that that Deja had indeed filed a TRO complaint against me. The probation officer provided me with the case number, and whereas a TRO, they are not typically accessible in Odyssey, in that I am not a layperson, I knew exactly what to do as far as filing my counter complaint through the e-filing system. Number 56, plaintiff's complaint is not currently accessible in Odyssey, which is Deja's complaint, and thus the specific statements are not available to me at this time, and they still aren't. So I don't know. But I was told by the probation officer that the hearing was set for February 18th at 9 a.m. So I was Johnny on the spot. No one was there. And it was wild because it had been automatically set for alternative dispute resolution. So that means that the court didn't even see it as a real, a serious complaint at all. Because if they had, then they would have actually had us go before an actual a judge, right? It wouldn't have been set for alternative dispute resolution. But yeah, so that's the update, and it gets a little more cuckoo crazy because it gets a little more cuckoo crazy because then today, while working, I realized, I got a knock on the door and I received this, and I'll show you both. And this is a civil summons for domestic violence. And you'll see that it was filed by, look at me, by Jahmil Mays, right? And y'all, my address is already pretty much public knowledge or whatever. And requesting a protective order. Okay, see that there? And it was denied. It was denied. They have an initial hearing that they do, which is standard procedure, and it was denied. And let's see. This is where it gets really stupid. He says, I am in fear for the livelihood of me and my family. He says, I fear that she will, he implies, I fear that she will go by his daughter's school. Or actually, he states it somewhere because his handwriting is a little difficult to read. He's writing in cursive. Yeah, I am in fear. I just cannot. He wants me to be banned from parks. What? Hold on. I want the defendant to be ordered not to come on or about my residence, the place where I work, any schools of the children that I attend, the place where I go to school, parks, entertainment areas, and David. Oh my God. What? I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. He says he doesn't want me to be able to, he wants the court to make me not be able to go to parks, entertainment areas, and Dave and Buster's. And then this, I didn't even know what school she attended, but I guess now I do. And the School of the Arts, I don't even know what that is. I haven't. Oh my God. Jesus is Lord, y'all. And the court denied it. And he tried again. So the court has denied it twice. So right there, the plaintiff has failed to prove, right? The plaintiff has failed to prove the grounds for ex parte relief. So that's what they do initially. When you ask for a temporary restraining order, some of you know how this goes. You go before a magistrate, and the magistrate, they determine if there is sufficient evidence to enter the order temporarily, giving the victim relief until they can go in front of a judge. Because at the end of the day, even if someone is stalking you or doing things that warrant a temporary restraining order against you, you still have the right to due process. So you have the opportunity to be heard in defense. But if it's bad enough, quote unquote, they can issue the temporary restraining order temporarily until you actually get a chance to go before the court. So it was denied, and then evidently, yeah, so it was denied on the 17th, and so the ex parte, all of that was denied. There you have it. The request is denied, and like I said, he's tried again. So the trying again is hilarious. And then that, what date is that? Hold on. That was the next day. He tried again. You see that? The plaintiff has failed to prove grounds for ex parte relief. This was on February 18th. And this was at 2:12. 2:12. See that? 2:12 on February 18th, and it was denied again. Right here. And that's the case number. You see that there, and you see denied right there. And but so now I have to go on the 25th at 1:30 p.m. for this bullshit. Here's what I have to say. This is what I have to say. If you know anything about me, you know that I am pro-Black. You also know that I'm of Haitian descent. You know that my people are from Brooklyn, New York, and Nyack, New York, and Darlington, South Carolina. You know that my mom is of Cherokee descent. You know I do not play about my Black and brown people and my Black and brown commitment. I cut my teeth on Black code. I cut my teeth on group economics. I cut my teeth on Black empowerment. I do not do Black on Black crime. And I call it Black on Black crime colloquially. I'm speaking of anything and everything that would be divisive, that would be unkind, even as simple as being unkind to my fellow Black people. I go out of my way to be especially kind to us first. This was a Black couple. Jahmil is Black. Deja Hill Mays is Black. I'm disgusted by their behavior. They clearly were in cahoots and conspired to scam me. And all I can figure is that they chose me as a target because they believed the libelous articles in the Charlotte Observer and the copy-pasted information from those articles that has been used to drag my name through the mud on Reddit, in Facebook pages and groups that I don't have access to, all throughout social media where people are defaming me. And evidently people who are joining in with the defamation, who evidently have come in contact with me at some point in their lives and fucked around and found out because they were with the shits and thought that they could do harm to me. But I defend myself well. I'm very kind. Everyone will tell you, anyone who knows anything, I'm extremely kind. I am enlightened, and I thank my parents for that process. And I've taken it to a whole new level. I am extremely enlightened, extremely learned. I don't want to say that I'm smarter than anyone because I don't believe in that type of mindset. I don't believe in projecting those ideologies. I love to learn is how I always express it. But you got to be fucking out of your mind if you think that you're going to be able to. Don't underestimate me. And evidently these individuals have underestimated me, which is mind-boggling because I don't know nobody else that like it's only a little bit of us, number one, that have a PhD, ABD, or PhD in applied sciences. I'm not being mean to nobody else's PhD, but I'm saying my PhD ain't in sociology. No diss. My PhD ain't in history. No diss. My PhD ain't in just education. No diss. My PhD is in applied sciences, economics and physical sciences. And I have a Juris Doctorate. So if you think that communicates to you that I'm unlearned and that I'm unwise, then you know what? Good luck. Good luck and stay back because I'm not really sure what to say about you. But evidently they thought, hey, she's a perfect target. Let's go run her ragged. And none of this was necessary. You want to know why? Because of what I just said, what I led with. I've learned that they are in significant indebtedness. And clearly they're in a toxic marriage still. Whether they are partners in crime or not, this is what they do. So on the flip side of it, the irony of it is that you all know me to have established the Above Ground Railroad Incorporated. And through my corporation, Pursuit of Happiness Corporation, I've done so much philanthropic work for communities because of how much I love Black love and families. And I generally do that for, all people, but I have a special place in my heart for Black families, the Black Family Unit. And so if they had just come to me, which was available to him, because in the beginning, we were not a couple. We didn't start out being a couple on September 7th. And so when he disclosed the things that he did to me, I made it available to him. I said, do you want this marriage? Do y'all maybe need to go get therapy? Do you need my services to help you navigate through your indebtedness and get your business back on track in a legitimate fashion? Because it sounds like maybe you got some things that are just not, they're not coming together. I've been around the block. So I feel like there's, some things that are going on with your business that's funky monkey. I can help in those regards. And all he had to do was say yes. And even if he could not afford my rate, Those of you who know me know that I very likely would have given them a discount or given them a payment plan. Or in some cases, maybe even done it philanthropically. So none of this was necessary. And then involving my son, the way that he intentionally was making all these comments, like in the beginning, yeah, I want to make sure that I am handling both of you correctly because I know that I'm not dealing with just a single mom. I'm dealing with two hearts, not just one. All this BS. Intentionally engaging my son, even though I was like, okay, you don't have to do any of this. No, I want to. I want us. I mean, he was talking longevity. He wasn't even talking youth. I posted the videos. Go back and look at the videos. Making all these plans. He always planned everything, pretty much everything we did. He was, and I presumed him to be acting kingly. I referred to him as King Jah, as a matter of fact. Because I thought he was planning all these things. He was being intentional. He was doing all the things right. And we were often in the company of other people. He was often introducing me, had his mother, he incorporated his mother on a phone call after phone call. Speakerphone, having me, because she lives in Detroit, having us have conversations, talking about this and talking about that. And you know what? I will say this. I do think that at a certain point, he realized, oh shit, she's a real one. She's a real one. So I'm not sure if we can do this because I thought that she was a good target. You know, I thought she deserved to be taken advantage of. Kind of like the Robin Hood ideologies where you steal from the corrupt rich and give to the humble poor. I'm not the corrupt rich. I ain't got no money. I just almost died in February of last year. I ain't got no money. I'm trying to get myself together. I don't know if he thought I was going to get a payout from Sun Pharma and CVS real quick. That's not how that works. That case is still in process. We are nowhere near a conclusion in that case. Goodwill and the Concord Police Department, they're not trying to give me no money easy. They making that case is super hard right now. And it's not super hard. Let me be more specific. It's not hard as far as the application of law. It's hard because the judge and the opposing counsel, they own some Project 2025-ish and racism and prejudice. Like they don't want me to get no money. So please, if y'all are out there and you're thinking that like I am a viable target and I deserve to be under the will of whoever of you thinks that you're avenging the citizens against all these corrupt politicians, I'm not one of them. I'm not a corrupt politician. I am the ethical politician. I am the ethical gatekeeper. I'm the good guys. And I'm black. I've been on the black code since day one. I wish I would have liked the live. All I see is one like, so I appreciate that. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But I'm putting this out here at the end of the day so that it's out here and there's proof pudding that I'm gonna need y'all to stop. I'm gonna need y'all to stop. So now they looking stupid. They looking real stupid because everything you've done, you should literally, we're talking about Jahmil Mays and Deja Hill Mays. They should be in jail for the things they've done to me. But ironically enough, due process is available to even knowing criminals. Even knowingly guilty criminals have the right to due process. But I paid attention in law school. So that counterclaim, it ain't nothing to play with. All right, y'all gonna have the day you deserve, and I'll get with you later.